Hey guys, what's up? It's Dan Weinberger here, CEO Morpheus.Network, here with another exciting video for you guys. As usual, I usually don't do these videos by myself. I have a couple amazing guests with me. First guy I'll introduce, one of my close personal friends, CEO of Morpheus, co-founder of Morpheus, Noam. How you doing today, buddy?
Hey Dan, thanks so much for that intro. Doing really well today. Yeah, feel great. It's Wednesday. It's been a busy week so far, but feeling fantastic. Always love jumping on a video with you guys and our guests. And yeah, I'm excited about our guests today. Today we're joined by Jon Trask. We've done a few videos with Jon, always a great guy to talk with. And Jon is the CEO and founder of Dimitra. And on this video, yeah, I'd love to talk. We'd love to talk about Dimitra and your plans for Dimitra. Jon, why don't you say a couple words?
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always good to do videos with you guys. And, you know, we've been working together on projects for a couple years now. It's always exciting to talk blockchain and supply chain. And I've got this new initiative called Dimitra. You know, it's been a couple years in the making, but we're rolling now and things are going really well. And, you know, just want to chat a little bit about that and share some information with your token holders and viewers.
Fantastic. You know, Jon, you know, a lot of our token holders have heard of Dimitra. They've read some information there is online about it as well, because there's a lot of it. There's a lot of great content out there. So Jon, I want to ask you, just because you're the best person to ask this, what is the mission of Dimitra?
Yeah, you know, we really look at the farming world differently. So when we focus on farming, there's upstream and downstream farming, and a lot of supply chain activities happen in the downstream. But upstream is really what are all the things that touch the farmer. And we're looking at that from a different perspective than the rest of the world. In our world, we have what's called a lot of smallholder farmers. And a smallholder farmer typically runs less than 4 hectares, so not a huge mega farm. But in the world, there's about 600 million farmers. About 570 million of those farmers are smallholder farmers. So it is a huge group of farmers. It represents maybe a third of the world's population, and they create food for about 70% of the world. So they play a huge role. The other factor that we're trying to address with smallholder farmers is smallholder farmers, they're very dedicated worker. Most of them get up and farm, they go to a day job, and they come home and farm. And many of them live in developing nations. So we're not really focused on Canadian farmers or American farmers. We're really focused on farmers in Africa and Asia and Latin America who maybe don't have complete access to technology. Now, one of the cool things with these farmers is their adoption rate of technology is huge. We're working with a group in India right now, and they see about 70% of those smallholder farmers in this group of 1.3 million farmers that we're working on a project for having smartphones. They may not have the money to go and buy a $5, $10, $30 app. But so we're really trying to democratize the access to technology, and particularly, you know, advanced agricultural technologies that could benefit a farmer who maybe doesn't have access to a ton of information and doesn't have the ability to bring in a consultant or buy high-priced sensors in order to analyze his soil. So we see an opportunity here to help a very large group of people who many live very near the poverty line. Many are dedicated to the land, and many who really are probably only bringing 20% of their crops to market because they're consuming 80% of their crops, and help them increase their output. We know, based on some UN studies and FAO studies, that if we can help them get a 10% increase or 20% increase in output, we actually double their farm income. And for me, that creates a huge opportunity. So our mission is to get our product into the hands of smallholder farmers around the world.
Fantastic.
Thanks for that, Jon. I had a question. I went through the white paper, excellent white paper, by the way, and the white paper talks about smart farming. What is smart farming, and how does your Dimitra solution achieve this vision of smart farming?
So I think the definition of smart farming can be quite broad, but in our context, we work on data-driven farming. How do you take a piece of data and help a farmer make a decision that's going to increase their yield, reduce their cost, or mitigate risk? And really, they're looking to do those three things, right? How do you manage a risk? There's lots of risk in farming around weather, around soil conditions, around climate change, and those impacts can reduce their yield, which is counter to their goal, or completely wipe out their crop. So what we look at doing is we start with the farm and we define the boundaries of the farm. We can set up a geofence around the farm, and the farmer can actually take his cell phone, walk around his farm, and set up the boundaries of his farm or the boundaries of a field where he has a crop. And then the farmer can set up his goals. And when he or she is setting up those goals, they can define, I'm planting corn on this field. Last year I got 57 bushels of corn, and this year I want to see a 20% increase. Now that we have that boundary, we can actually take satellite data and we can run about 18 reports on the soil conditions, the organic matter in the soil, fertilizer, irrigation, a whole bunch of factors that are really important to increasing yield or reducing disease or mitigating risk for those crops. And we take that information now and we combine that with farmer observation. So we know farmers have known how to farm forever, but we can now couple technology with their knowledge, and we have the ability for that farmer to take a picture of a diseased plant or a pest and get best practices around, what do I do to treat that issue? They can identify whether they've got an organic strategy or a traditional strategy. They can identify some of the conditions that they've got, like what are their inputs? Are they using a certain type of fertilizer? Are they using a certain type of seed? And now we can take that data and start combining sensor data, farmer observation, satellite data, other data sources like third-party data sources like weather station data, and apply machine learning to it. And we've got a team of machine learning specialists who are analyzing that. And in the end, the farmer gets an output that says, if you want to achieve this goal, here's some recommendations on things you can do. Now the farmer can choose to research that more. We've got what we call our knowledge garden, which is just a repository of information. They can go online and research that and make an informed decision. So when I look at smart farming or data-driven farming, what we've built in our application is the definition of that.
Wow.
Now, Webster may have a different definition or a variation to that definition.
I like yours.
But now the definition to me of smart farming is really built around what we're delivering.
Just amazing. And if you think about it, Jon, you're mentioning that 70% of the world's food is produced by these small farms. And if you can increase yield by, you're saying the number 20%, 5% or 10%, that's just absolutely massive. Smart farming is going to literally change the world of farming, most definitely. So John, the next thing obviously the technology is exciting. We could talk about that all day long. But the next thing I want to talk about specifically, something that you've been working extremely hard at, right from before Dimitra with Morpheus the entire time, is your global coverage and the deals that you currently have in the pipeline. Now, I don't want you to tell us everything, because I know you got lots to talk about. If you give us a little bit of information, would be fantastic.
Yeah, so that's a great question. We've been doing a lot of work to grow around the world. And, as you know, we're now in 47 countries. We've built a huge sales team around the world, representing maybe about half of our target countries already. We're hoping to grow to 100 within another year. And we find great partners who can come in and jump right in a business development or sales role. And actually, in some cases, those partners are system integrators, so they can also help us with system integration in the nation. We've got a huge pipeline of opportunities right now, about 71 active opportunities that we're working around the world with governments and corporations in different areas. We've got 9 agreements active right now. So we're working on deals in South America, Africa, Middle East, Asia, and we're working on some really cool things in amazing places. We're working with a farmer association, one of the largest countries in South America right now, to solve some real problems that they've got from a farm management perspective. We're working on a Deforestation Project in order to analyze and reduce deforestation in countries. Had a great meeting this morning with the head of agriculture from Nepal, and one of his challenges growing tea on hills. And in Nepal, imagine the hills they've got, right? Those are the biggest hills in the world in some cases, although they're growing on the foothills. And we're working through scoping a project right now with them and trying to get a university research partner to combine satellite and ground-based sensors to help yield. And we talk about yield, and we talked a little bit about yield before, and the numbers we're getting out of there, they have some fields that can produce within a certain farm boundary 10 tons of tea, and in some of those hilly areas they only get 2 tons. And so there's a great opportunity that if we can manage the soil nutrient, if we can manage irrigation and rainwater differently, and we can manage the inputs, that we could take that output and theoretically make that approach what you're getting in other areas.
Exactly.
And so these are things that we can study with technology that helps us get ahead. And every day I'm excited getting up and talking about these problems with farm organizations around the world. And our sales team is doing a great job of getting out there and getting these opportunities and partnerships in front of us. And the numbers are astounding. Like what this South American program is 5 million farmers. This one African program, 6 million farmers. Like within a couple years, we will be well over 100 million farmers on this platform. And actually, we're designing it as a platform. And in 2022, we're making a large portion of it open source and allowing the world to build on it. Because we know we don't know everything about ag tech. And we know there's so many great companies out there. I was working with a company yesterday in Kenya who has this call center to help farmers who their literacy prevents them from using technology. So they're building machine learning as an intermediary where the farmer can call in, and get data entered and then have that data validated by a person on a phone.
Wow.
And, they're on the path to having 4 million users on that. And we're working on on building that in as a part of the system in order to deal with literacy issues in some of these areas. So much exciting stuff going on right now. And you know, in all the companies that I've built in my life and all of the opportunities I've had in my life, this one is growing at an astronomical pace. I've not seen this pace before. So we're all very excited to be part of it, and happy to have Morpheus as part of the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's amazing, Jon. And speaking of Morpheus.Network, so we've talked a lot about Dimitra, and tell us, you know, where does Morpheus.Network and the Morpheus.Network platform fit into Dimitra and fit into your long-term vision for Dimitra?
So, you know, as maybe much of the world knows, we started working together a couple years ago, and particularly in agriculture, it's probably about a year ago, we were working on a African, I guess, crop-based system. Mm-hmm. And, you know, so we've built the Dimitra platform, we've built it to work with Morpheus. And when I look at farming, I look at this spectrum of upstream to downstream, right? And with the farmer starting the process, growing the crop and preparing the crop and getting that out maybe to a small packing plant or to a dairy or to something like that. And then Morpheus fits so perfectly in that downstream where you're taking it now from, you know, the aggregated farm output to manufacturing or to export or to market. So, you know, you guys have designed some great track and trace tools that fit really well into that, some great export management and document management tools that fit perfectly into that. And, you know, our UI now actually can just call the Morpheus network and use your functionality in the background. So we see your fit in many projects in that downstream end. And not every project we do is upstream or downstream. If we're working with a corporation, it's that extended value chain or supply chain. Some of them are completely downstream, some of them are completely upstream. But, you know, I love your tool. I've loved your tool for a couple of years, and we've worked through so many use cases over the last couple of years for Morpheus, and I see there's going to be many, many more use cases for this as a component of the Dimitra system. So thank you for that partnership.
No, of course, Jon. And we're just getting started, as you know, with Dimitra, and, you know, based on the beginnings of this, you know, the growth you're having as well already with the adoption of the platform. But, you know, the back end, you know, the blockchain-based system, the notarization, you have some very exciting information about the token itself, the Dimitra token. Please let us know a little bit more about the pre-sale of it and the token sale itself as well.
Yeah, so we're just starting our pre-sale right now, and our token launch is on September 15th. So we'll be working with some exchanges starting September 15th. Prior to that, we're trying to bring on token holders or Dimitra ecosystem members who really want to make a contribution to technology, who really want to, you know, help us join the team. And, you know, we've created 3 pre-sale options. If you go to our website, dimitra.io, you can find more information. You can find our short form and long form white paper. So we've got a summary document, which is like 10 pages long. And then we have the detailed white paper, which is about 60 pages long. Our first round is going up through July 15th, and we have a price point for the token up through July 15th and through August 15th, and then through September 15th. So it allows for people to get in at a price point that's affordable to them and really play a role in changing the smallholder farmer world with technology. And, you know, we've got a great strategy built around the token. There's lots of elements to that token. We've built in some grant programs where we can create incentive for countries and for farm organizations to be early adopters of the platform, and get in and work with us to help us develop that technology. So we've got a number of grants that we've got going out there, and then we've got an ecosystem program where, I'll give you an example. In Africa, in this first country that we were dealing with last year, there's a need for sensor operators and drone operators and people to provide services that don't exist today. There isn't necessarily some of those technological services out there around working with cattle bolus sensors and setting up antennas for cattle bolus sensors. So we've got a program where we can go partner with those companies, entrepreneurs who want to get out and change their lives and provide services in their rural areas, in their farm markets, to really participate as part of the Dimitra ecosystem. So you can read more about that in the white paper. And then beyond that, as you know, we've been doing education programs for a number of years. We've got about 10 colleges and universities here in Canada that we teach at. But we've now opened Dimitra Academy, and a couple months ago, we taught our first technology course. We have about 45 regular students who are coming, who are directors, ministers, and senior leaders of ministries around the world. And we're participating in an education program where we spend a lot of time educating them, but they spend a lot of time educating us around what's going on in different areas of the world. And we've gone through and explored over the last 8 weeks, blockchain, artificial intelligence, IoT devices. This morning, we ran a session with them on satellite and the use of satellite in improving farming operations. And this is 100% focused on emerging technology and partnering with those government ministries and corporations to help them adopt emerging technology. We've got another program running in September. We expect the same result, probably again about 50 government ministers and leaders from ministries. And then we have great relationships around the world with organizations. We've got a partnership with a group called IICA that focuses on agricultural improvement all over the 35 countries here in the Americas. And, so they bring people, they're a non-governmental organization that works with governments, particularly in developing countries, to help improve agricultural programs. Exactly. So we got some of that going here in the Americas, some of that going in Africa, some of that going now in Asia. So we love working with these great organizations. I'd call them philanthropic organizations, but I wouldn't want to get it wrong. But I think you get what I mean. They are these organizations that are really trying to change the world, and we're happy to be part of that network, and happy to have you guys as part of that network.
Awesome, John. No, that's super exciting, and like you say, bringing the emerging technologies to the agro sector, and the way you're doing it as well, from talking about the small farms, talking from the government side as well, from the top down, from the bottom up. You're really tackling it from every possible angle, and I feel this video has given people a lot of great information about what Dimitra's mission is, what you're doing, the application of it, and all. There's a ton more information on their amazing website, Dimitra.io. It's a gorgeous website. As John mentioned, really digging into that white paper as well. And as always, guys, any more questions for John, you can reach them, reach John directly to contact us on the Dimitra.io website, or reach myself or Noam at any point. Email me directly anytime, Dan@Morpheus.Network, of course, or Noam@Morpheus.Network. And as always, guys, John, thanks for taking the time. Noam, thank you again. Everyone, have a great day.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
Always.
Bye.